with Money Match Gaming and the Trustless Degens podcast. It's our new podcast here. And today we'll be talking about all things Web3, blockchain, DeFi. We're just going to dive into it all the things that interest us as some guys that have been on the chain for a while. That's kind of the theme here of today's show, is that we're a bunch of guys that like crypto and DeFi, and we've been in the space for a while. We'd like to share what we know with some folks. So I am Smurf, your host today. To my left is Rex Satoshi.
What's going on, y'all?
And to the far left we have Eric Wilson, or to your far right, my far left.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy. Howdy do.
Yeah, this show is it should be a pretty laid back type of feel. We are working on the structure of it, but we just figured, before we get anything like super polished and whatnot, just to start off and start putting that information out there in a way that not a lot of other shows would do, because it's you just you gotta do it. I have this saying that I tell myself sometimes when I'm getting psyched up for a project, and I'm like, ain't nothing to it but to do it. So that's kind of the feeling here.
Dive in.
That's right. Dive in. Swim good, as Frank Ocean say. Swim good. So today, we want to start things off by I'm going to go through some newsworthy topics and then hand it over to the gents, and they can just list. We're going to keep it to just kind of like headlines of some newsworthy topics happening in the space, and then we're going to run through those. So first, we're just going to give a general brief of some things that have been happening in the crypto and Web3 space, and then we're going to run a little bit deeper into those topics, those individual topics. And we have some specific show topics today. So our interest individually will hit some of those, and then we'll also keep you on. So I'm going to run you guys through some that I found interesting today. And then I'll hand it off to Rex Satoshi and Eric. The first newsworthy topic that I found in cryptocurrency today / this week was, and this is more so a recency thing, Tron set to capitalize on the DeFi boom. This article is titled, and with Wintermute, which I had to look it up, as their market maker. And so I believe just like a market maker would just be like somebody who's kind of like invested in the one of your projects enough to basically move markets, provide a substantial amount of liquidity. But I could be wrong there. I don't know if they have their own platform or whatnot. I think it might also be an exchange. From the read up of this article that I had, but basically I just see that as kind of like, I guess their previous market maker situation would have been like Poloniex, and this time it's these folks. Way too long of an intro on that, Smurf. The next article is DeFi lenders Compound take a bite out of institutional crypto loans pie. So Compound basically working on bringing products to institutional level investors. Was my takeaway from that one. We can dive into any of these topics that hit the mind in a bit. The next one was NFT renting platform. This is actually a boo situation, but NFT renting platform shuts down, citing close to zero traction. That actually ends up saving this one as almost like a curiosity thing. Like, how is this marketed? Because I never heard about the platform, and I do feel like this type of idea is something that will prevail in the future. I feel like this person might just be too early to the game. And it's a bear market, so I'm like, also, what were your losses, but I'll keep moving. Next up is the Ethereum proof of work versus Ethereum Classic, which will benefit most from the merge. I feel like a lot of the conversation lately has been on Ethereum, I want to say like mainnet or proof of stake versus Ethereum proof of work group or party or whatever you want to call them, people that want to make this fork, but ETH Classic's been left out of the conversation. What about ETH Classic? That's still its own thing. That creates like a three-way battle that people aren't really talking about. Coinbase is getting political. They added a new feature to evaluate cryptocurrency policy issues. So basically different politicians from different regions, they like have information as far as like how crypto friendly they are, and they're putting it right there in the Coinbase app. Just like, I'm like, yo.
Coinbase has been doing some pretty base shit lately.
This is
Newer.
hilarious to me. I'm like, and they mentioned they're like, it's 100 million Coinbase users. I'm like, that's not all United States, but if it was all the United States, that would be like a third of the population, like shifting voting potential in them like having influence on that, and it still is, because like if they get like, you know, shifting the influence of crypto Twitter or anything like that, it's still influential. It's really interesting.
I don't know why you got into crypto, but I gotta say, for me, partly it's a new governance, and it's talking about new governance, and it's having that discussion. And blockchain technology is a souped up, super like fast forwarded version of governance, and you can see mistakes quickly. You know what I mean? With 3-second block times, dude, you can see mistakes happen in real time quickly, and I think we're going to learn a lot from blockchain governance through all this, man. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for the whole governance thing. I didn't understand like DAOs when I first like saw it, but mostly just because I didn't read. It's like, what's this DAO topic? Because it's like really early on Steemit, of course, when I was hearing about this stuff. And I was like, what's this DAO talk? What's this DAO talk? DAO. People are all like, DAOs are going to be so big. And this is like 2018. So like, it definitely came to be. That's hilarious, but that's why I kept my eye on anything that said that. Like, I really tuned into DeFi, this like Ethereum age when I heard about like MakerDAO, and I was like, oh, that was that DAO topic. So the first time that I saw MakerDAO, I was like, tune in. This is what we've been hearing about on Steam for like a long time on like a big level. But the Coinbase topic, proof of merge. This is a cool one that we can dive into a little bit more later on. But there's free NFTs going around. I don't know how many of these are available, but I kind of want to try to get my own by the end of tonight. They're called proof of merge NFTs, and they will transform in your wallet as the Ethereum merge happens. These are basically like saying, hey, you were early to the Ethereum party. You were on the blockchain during this point of time. And as the merge goes through its different phases, so too will your NFT. And it's just a way of like kind of tracking that. So that's pretty cool. I think
so like a DLive like founder badge?
Yeah, like a founder badge, or like they didn't make founder badges NFTs, I don't believe, though. Unfortunately, I don't know why they didn't. But like that, or like Wax has something like that as well. But yeah, you can mint these NFTs. I think the mint is free, but if it's on Ethereum, I'm not sure if it's on Ethereum or Polygon. Truthfully, I have the link here though, and we'll share that. Yeah. Otherwise, it seems pretty cool. Actually, let me read off the link because I have the title here. The title for that, for anybody who's watching, is merge.xyz. So it's proof of merge.xyz. Excuse me, proof of merge.xyz. Cool. On to the other topics. We had also.
Hey, it's a little delayed, but can I just give a obligatory boo to Tron, and like the fact that you opened up with Tron. You opened up with
I did
bro.
open with Tron. Look, I'm not a Tron hater as most people. So like,
Oh my God,
I know you're not
shocked.
a Tron hater,
I'm
not hating on you for not being a Tron hater.
I understand,
but I'm just gonna throw a boo out there every once in a while.
Yeah,
obligatory.
I appreciate it. Set me straight.
Nice DLive shirt too. I just noticed that.
Yeah. Tron out. DLive is going through some hard
let me
things
just
too.
say,
I'm like, this
let
is
me
gonna be
just
more
say,
of like
Charles,
like a relic type of thing.
Let me just say, Charles is still subbed to me on DLive. He's my only sub. He's my only sub.
He's working on a new project. That's great that he subbed to you. He's doing Project Galaxy right now, which is actually booming in the crypto space.
It looks cool. I support him. Listen, dude, I have
Project Galaxy for other projects.
I have no problem with Charles. I like Charles. I ran around with him in New York City at the night of the DLive party, dude. Mm-hmm. That was awesome. I got to hang out with him, smoke cigarettes with him. He bought me a pack of cigarettes in New York City, which is like $20 a pack. Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm just saying. Charles,
he was a chill dude when I met him. Yeah, I met him.
Pack of cigarettes.
I met him in Seattle. He was a chill dude.
Cool as shit, dude. Cool as shit. Listen, I'm on his side.
Just not.
Other than that, no comment.
Hey, look. It's not. That's what I said. But people got to, we got to open up to the fact that it's not all Justin Sun anymore in Tron. And this decision was actually, just to dive into the Tron thing, just because it's brought up, this decision was a decision from the DAO, which Justin Sun no longer has my majority over.
His Excellency?
Yeah, His Excellency.
He has bots who may, though.
He relinquished a lot. I think he actually tried to back out of this one. I think he actually tried to, because he still got money, and he still got the USDD thing. So he's got different things going for it. I think he made enough connections that aren't necessarily bots, but like more so political moves in the space, where it's like, okay, but we're partnered in some type of way, and like, it's like, it's that true politician that's not actually on the hill type of vibe. It's Mr. Moneybags, the politician that's not actually in politics.
Have you looked up his whole diplomatic thing with that one country? What has come of that? Because that's almost been a year, right? He has like diplomatic immunity because he's like, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's I mean, probably then, but I forget what the country's name is exactly. It's like
he's like some sort of advisor for a country, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the country, but I mean that makes sense. I feel like it's, to me, I see that as like no difference than like Charles Hoskinson in like Ethiopia. I'm like, it's on similar levels to me personally. So I'm like, can I really?
Well, I think of like how like Steven Seagal is like they identified Steven Seagal as like a reincarnated monk from like the seventh century or something like that, and it has no correlation to the fact that he's donated a lot of money to the monastery. You know what I mean? Like, just I kind of get those vibes. That's all I'm saying.
Feel you.
Okay, so Justin Sun is the permanent representative of Grenada to the to the WTO.
They need that. I feel like in some of these situations, these other countries are looking at this. They're looking at Justin Sun like, here comes this billionaire mogul with ties to all this world money and a blockchain.
It works. That's just good politics.
His blockchain has more. The market cap of Tron is worth more than
Tron is. And that's why, and that's really why I put it on here, is because while the talk
mutually beneficial.
While the talk is on Ethereum today, and while the talk is on Ethereum layer 2s, the Arbitrums, and the optimisms and stuff like that, Tron is steadily building up cash. And like, for anybody who likes stable coins, it's hard to ignore Tron sometimes. It's like, if you really just want to make money off stable coins or even the token itself, like, you can get, like, at this point, like, all degens are like, oh man, Tron not really moving like that. But at the same time, Tron not really moving up or down like that. Tron took like a 30% drop from like its average of the bull run. It went from like, I think it like peaked around like 12 or something like that, I feel like. And then
it had weird
out
movement.
around 9 cents most of the time.
And it had weird
down
movement.
to 6 or 7 right now. It's like, was that really that painful, considering that you could have been making like hundreds of percents in APY and whatever the heck, or thousands of percents? I'm like, you could have just sat in Tron the whole time and probably made bank. So I always pay attention to for that, and in stable coins in Tron, really, more so than anything like that. The stablecoin opportunities have always been pretty juicy in Tron. So I'm pointing that out
Tron
there. Liquidity
is the OG Solana, if you ask me.
The OG, they're better than Solana. Do they have that many VCs in Tron like that? I'm like, we know Justin since reason, but like,
I doubt it. It's just that, to me, Tron was the first Solana.
Tron's never going down like that either. When's Tron been offline? Oh my goodness. Anyways, let me get through the rest of these topics. We gotta keep going. I need to stop defending Tron, y'all.
Hey, let me if I can. If you're like, listen, I'm feeling beat down here. Let me interject here for a second, if I may, go off the cuff a little bit and suggest that perhaps, as far as a strategy, as far as how we like introduce topics, like, let's have like that list of topics on the left side of the screen, and then just quick hits, man. Like, you say blah 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 blah, and then you give us the rundown, and then me and Rect all like kind of give our quick hits on it. And then we just, we talk shit. We kind of like talk about our opinions and stuff. And then in the second that you feel that we're good on it, and then you just move on to the next one.
Yeah. Feel it. Yeah. Dig that. Let's try your hardest.
But yeah, feel free to defend Tron whenever you feel the need, because I'm willing to dish it out, bro. Anytime you want to go.
It happens that way.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right, next topic up is Shiba Inu burn rate. For anybody who out there in the dog coin universe, I'm not even gonna say the Doge coin like that. Just dog coins, meme tokens, and stuff like that. Well, these are specific, dogs, Doge and Shib. I feel like there's a Doge Shib battle of people that like meme tokens. Maybe that's. Can you
give me a 30-second commercial on what Shib is in relation to Doge?
Shib is a meme token that has taxes implemented in the buy and sell of it. It also has its own DEX on, it's a Ethereum based token. So that's also another thing that it has over a Dogecoin, I think, is that it's an Ethereum based token. So it's an ERC20 based token, which means that it immediately was working with dApps and everything else. However, they are already working on making their own blockchain. Like, so I believe it's using Arbitrum technology, I believe.
All right. Yeah, that was about 40 seconds, but
about
we'll
40.
let it go. Like, no, that was good. That was still good. You still gave me the rundown. No, totally. Thanks.
There you go.
Because I'm out of the loop, man. Listen, I'm out of the loop. I'll tell you when I'm out of the loop.
Cool. But yeah, that's SHIB, and I'm bringing this up because the Shiba Inu burn rate accelerates by 3,000%. And the question was, will it impact the price? I'm like, I don't hold big SHIB bags. Had the opportunity to, and probably would have got SHIB rich. But that happened with a bunch of tokens. But don't hold big SHIB bags.
Yeah. It shouldn't affect the price yet, but you need to also realize how many. Like, are they still minting SHIB somehow?
Wait, isn't it deflation? I feel like SHIB's deflationary. Like, I feel like it's that's another thing. I feel like SHIB.
So it started off as just like worthless, right? Like fucking take it, and then it's like they're trying to use that and then build towards a utility or what?
Yeah, it's like, have you ever heard of Feed Every Gorilla token?
No.
Okay, it's another token like that where like they start off with like some like quadrillion, like some insane number of tokens, right? And then they just have these massive burns. And so the token is like worth nothing at the start. People can buy up tons of it, and this is how the SHIB millionaire person made so much. But people can buy up tons of it, and then there's just tons of room for it to grow as people like buy in, and it's got just deflationary mechanisms and stuff like that. And so I feel like
listen, man, the more that you can prove like the number of wallets and just getting people involved, even if they're just selling it, you know what I mean? You're airdropping it to them, and they're just using the market to sell it. That's still activity. And you start to hit an equilibrium with that where you start building utility. But the airdropping is super decentralized, man. Let's face it. You're just giving it to anybody who wants it with dust. Trade us some Bitcoin dust, and you can get 1 million of these and be an early adopter and believe in it and build the community. And then that's the value, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting concept, man. I like the way they're going about it.
Yeah,
I think if they can come up with some good like sinks for their token, like I like how Binance Coin and I think Pancake, they do burns like every month or something like that, to where they're burning like millions and millions of dollars worth of their coin. And I think that right now in the bear market, like you're not going to see the effects of that, but when we switch on to people buying risk on assets, those burns are going to really kick in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I believe the SHIB, just to conclude my point, like I believe SHIB like has that, like, again, because of the transaction, just whatever that tax is or whatever, I'm pretty sure that takes care of some. As far as sinks, I think that goes into their exchange, with their, like, they have like a farming situation. They also have more tokens, so they have like the bone token and whatnot, and these are like all the SHIB tokens. Like there's like 3 tokens in their economy, and they're all now listed on like some type of centralized exchange. So SHIB is making waves for a meme token. Like that's more than a lot of tokens in the space can say, and in having its own blockchain. So yes, it is a meme token, but I treat it as it's going to be that much more legit than the Doge chain scenario, with more people that know how to utilize it when they do get their own blockchain. Is how I see SHIB.
So what are the other tokens in the ecosystem? I know of Bone, and I know of
SHIB, Bone, and there's one other.
Is it X Fun? No, not what is it? Hang on, I have it on my watch list on CoinGecko. It's supposed to be an oracle for SHIB, and I'm not sure if it's in their ecosystem or not. I had a buddy who was hitting me up about it, trying to FOMO me in, but he said that it's like some type of decentralized oracle for SHIB. Yeah, it is called X Fund actually.
Okay. Oh no, I think I'm thinking SHIB, Leash, and Bone.
Okay.
So those are the ones that I'm thinking of, at least. So, and like I can't tell you what Leash does or what Bone does. I think Bone is like the governance one, honestly. But yeah, I can't tell you, because as much as I've read them before, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I'll get the SHIB later. I have a little bit of SHIB, and it should only take a little bit of SHIB to make some profit if it keeps going the way it goes. So that's the way that I see it. But yeah, interesting ecosystem. My last topic that I had on this list was, and this will kind of lead us into our more so wider stable topics, which is just that Bitcoin price sheds $1,000 in 3 minutes as U.S. CPI inflation overshoots expectations. I'm just gonna put I think it's at expectations, but it kind of cut off. But yeah, it was expected, and like the overshoot was like, I think it was estimated to be like 8.1%, and it was like 8.3%. So that would happen, and then we saw a change in the market. But I wanted to make sure that I included that in the list today because I believe it was like 2 weeks ago now, where we had Biometa and the guys on from Decentraland, and we brought up, we had a little conversation about the Fed making these statements and CPI data and these macro events that actually influence other parts of the market. And so I wanted to point that out because here's an article that's like, yo, within minutes of this data coming out, Bitcoin lost $1,000. And it's like, yeah, you don't know if things are going to go up or down necessarily in these situations, but that's a situation where maybe you want to try to like hedge something, do this whole delta neutral thing that's been another buzzwords. It's been trending so much lately, and that's just setting yourself up to be good on either side of things. You're neutral. But yeah, preparing yourself to make, some money, whether it goes up or down.
If I could respond to that, I think the early adopters into Bitcoin were kind of promised a hedge against inflation. So any indication that Bitcoin isn't a hedge against inflation is like, oh, see. I think at the end of the day, it's just another commodity. It's just another store of value. I don't want to say store of value because Satoshi never wanted to be a store of value, right? P2P. But what I'm saying is the way we're treating it, though, is the economics of it is you're making that conscious decision of saying, listen, if I hold some Bitcoin, I think it's a better hedge against fiat or other commodities that you may have the option of going into. I could sell my Bitcoin and buy this, and I think this might make me a little bit money over the course of the next year than Bitcoin will, so I'm going to switch it for this, then that, da. Eventually, I'm going to take a large chunk of my crypto, and I'm going to swap it to real-world assets of 10 acres. That's 100% a goal of mine, but I'm going to do it when the time is right. Yeah. So I whenever, just like with the whole COVID thing hit, what did we get down to 3,800? Like, or something ridiculously low under like six, low. You know what I mean? And it was like, Bitcoin is now webbed into the economy, so it is going to take hits when the entire health. The fact is, you have people farming, and you have people say, even for the sake of argument on Hive, you got 10 people. Let's just say 10 people on Hive living off the money they're making on Hive. When the price goes down, they're increasing the amount they're selling. It's almost like a quicksand thing, to where the more the price drops, the more they're selling, the more it's going to drop. Okay. So it's like you have a constant downward pressure on Hive, for instance, of people consistently selling and selling and selling. It's going to take consolidation for that to hit a bottom. And when the economy hits, I noticed on Twitch, so many people stop streaming. I think real world's hitting. I think the benefits are running out. I think the things that you can go around and stream and live off your streaming income and maybe do unemployment or this and that, I think those things are running out. Dude, the streamer list on my Twitch is just plummeting. At any given time, I have a handful of people streaming, whereas it was 30 people 6 months ago. So I think that's kind of like, you see less people streaming, you see Bitcoin kind of consolidating. I don't think those are unrelated, if you follow my drift. So
when you say streaming, do you mean like streaming games or streaming like just podcast or?
Yeah, just streaming. Smurf and I have been involved in DLive back when it was still on Steam. We kind of have like some of this old school kind of like blockchain streaming, and you can really see when the price drops, people stop streaming, because the rewards are drying up, and you kind of see a sped up process of how people respond when the prices change and stuff. And so when I say streaming, like people who are maybe getting by on streaming income, a lot of people staying at home, forced to stay at home, some people even working from home and still having a stream on their background lurking, things like that. I think it's all related. when there was a big boom in Bitcoin, you had a lot of people on D Live because they're making literally $100 a day streaming. Yeah. I'm not exaggerating. When D Live was still on Steam and Steam back dollars was hitting $7, and you could stream and get a D Live upvote, and at the end of the day, that equaled over $100.
Man, I was so
you
mad.
You had all these people streaming.
I was so mad at the team for not taking advantage of that. I'm like, yo, I'm streaming every day, but there get to be 3 of us streaming every day. We make $300 a day. Let's go.
My buddy was making legit. He was streaming every day. He was getting a D Live vote every other day because at that point, that's what they're doing. You know, they're not going to give the same person the same D Live upvote 2 days in a row. That's just, they only had so much power going around. But my buddy was making $500 a week streaming on D Live while they're still on Steam.
Yeah, it was good money.
And there was a fact he was cashing it out. Bro, he had it linked to a credit card, right? And he went down to Dollar General and he used that card and he shut down the credit card system on that machine because it like fucked up. It messed up or something running through like crypto, you know, because when you cash out, it would like sell crypto and then whatever, but it fudged up the system. So then they had him use the other machine. And he like shut down the other machine at Dollar General. Dude, there's 50 people in line. Yeah, 50 people in line. Both credit card machines are down because he messed it up with this like cryptocurrency credit card. And my starter doesn't work. And he comes out, dude. I just noticed like the parking lot's filling up more and more and more and more because nobody's running their machines.
Oh my God.
And then he just rolls out. He's like, yeah, I messed it up, man. I messed him up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, $500 a week from Steam and D Live, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's, you know, we use this as a segue, but like that's kind of just like it's a great story. And I feel like that's some of the benefit of being in crypto, like being involved in crypto or Web3 or whatever you want to call it, whatever that buzzword for you is. Your thing, because you get stories from that, like people like, you know, you have stories that you can tell about streaming like that or playing games like that. Trading straight up like that, you know, being super degen with a pick or something like that, you know, farming like that. All sorts of situations like this appear in cryptocurrency, and anybody who's been in a bull run knows that each bull run has its own theme pretty much. Like there was the ICO craze theme and things of this sort. I would say there was the Steam, well, that was part of the ICO phase of things, but we had all these social networks and stuff like that popping up, and really the first time that I saw gaming like that with the poker over there, and then came trading time, honestly, where all the traders make their money. It's when it's a trader's market, and now we have the theme, or we had it the theme of this. I would say for me personally, it was, they called it DeFi summer, but I would say it was more so like Web3 summer, because while it was titled DeFi summer, I feel like not everybody, like the first early adopters of that summer were DeFi enthusiasts. But then it became more of this Web3 thing where NFTs took over the scene, and they got way more notoriety and traction and stuff like that, way more media coverage than anything in DeFi, honestly. Like, if you ask people what DeFi is, they're like, I don't know. But if you ask, well, you know NFTs and Bored Apes, they got an opinion all of a sudden.
Everybody's got an opinion on a fucking NFT. That's for true.
Yeah, they got an opinion on those.
NFTs are a lot more personable than DeFi. Like, people can understand stupid pictures on the internet a lot easier than they can understand people making magic money. Like,
I feel like it's not even that.
Anyway.
I feel like it's more so just that people don't even understand the traditional financial system and like how that truly works and how to make money in that. Oh, you might be muted, right? If you're still talking.
I'm not.
Oh, no. I'm looking at the other screen. But yeah, I feel like it's the people don't understand traditional finance like that in general, or understand how you make money or how you make revenue streams, investing in companies, the stock market in general, bonds in general.
Everything's a fucking scam if you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And so they think that, and then again, I mentioned it sometimes. They have these garden parties and stuff like that in Seattle, and people are like upset at the rich and stuff like that. And I'm like, everything that people do to make money isn't bad. Like, money is not inherently evil. like being mad at somebody for having a bunch of money when you understand money is also not bad, because it's like, well, it's eventually going to lose its value, and so like if they're dumb, they're going to lose it over time anyways, and like the working man would outwork them if they didn't know what they were doing, but they understand the game, and I feel like that's the real thing, is that a lot of people don't understand the game, and they don't understand that this new wave of the game was coming to the blockchain. We had a tweet that we put out for this project, which was like, you know, Bitcoin is a store of value, then DeFi is this new accessible financial system on the blockchain. And it's about that accessibility. And like, yeah, that just wasn't accessible to people before. Like, I grew up being like, oh, I wish I could trade stocks and stuff like that. There was like a barrier, and like this is before they split stocks and shit like that. And so I'm like young with no money and being like, I don't know how to do this stuff. It's too much for me. And I feel like if I was that same age now and there was cryptocurrency, I'd be able to jump in. I would have started when I was like 16 or something. But now it's possible. And so some people understood that idea. I feel like I rambled there a bit there, but some people understood that idea, and then some, and the people that understood that idea got like really excited about it because they're like, well, traditional finance, banking, the middleman processes of banking, etc., are like super lucrative. And if any percentage of that is moving into cryptocurrency, then that's going to be extremely lucrative. And so those people hopped on it. And everybody else that never understood the game still doesn't understand the game, and maybe they're catching up, maybe they aren't. I feel like NFTs were a huge distraction. They're good in technology and stuff like that, but they're also a huge distraction. It's like if people ever want to have like the whole talk about, oh, this other thing is a distraction from what's really happening behind the scenes. It's like you got distracted by NFTs so much that you're missing out on cryptocurrency, and they're just now the new narrative after real yield, which we started talking about earlier, is just that there's a DeFi boom. And like, so other than real yield, it's just that there's becoming a DeFi boom in the midst of a bear market. How is that possible? Because DeFi never died, but they want you to believe that.
If I can interject here, Rect, if you feel inclined, go ahead. I haven't heard from you in a minute. I was just gonna say DeFi, I feel, is because everybody for the people who aren't interested in crypto, or one of the big objections is it's too volatile. I feel that DeFi, in a sense, is a little bit safer from the volatility. It's a little bit more protection from the volatility. You know, you pick two protocols that you like, and then you pair them together and you do the DeFi of those two that you're holding anyways. So you're getting a little bit, you're getting a little bit for holding and staking, and you're rewarded for doing that, and you're not subject so much to the price volatility, because you're just kind of holding, you got it staked, and it's backed up in a double stake and but for me, for the DeFi, like, it's definitely there's going to be volatility in crypto, and I feel that DeFi kind of eliminates the volatility just a little bit, because you're kind of getting for an overly inflated coin, I feel that you're kind of getting thrown some dust of it as it's getting inflated and transacted. And so you're kind of like buffering that volatility a little bit when you're doing DeFi, especially in the right DeFi projects. Like, I got like a big chunk, not a huge chunk, but I got a chunk of just Bitcoin and Ethereum staking, just trading between Bitcoin and Ethereum. I just got a chunk of that because I believe in both. Yeah. So I just got both of them thrown into a DeFi of I'm getting rewards for people trading between Ethereum and Bitcoin. I believe in them both. I might as well have them vaulted up. Yeah, sure, I could do that. But I was like, hey, might as well just put it in play a little bit and get a little rewarded off of both, collecting the dust off at the top,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's my point. That's my point on that, yeah.
I think that DeFi is kind of scary, and I don't particularly like that DeFi and it's like traditional finance almost. It's just like kind of a copy. Also, I think derivative trading is bullshit. I think that, like, I think it would be like, I think it's fun to do it. It's lucrative, but it's just like, I feel like it's kind of kills the market, and like even the traditional markets, like being able to gamble on a company failing, to me, is wild.
Oh, so you don't like the idea of basically like being able to like short the market either?
I don't like the idea of people buying a contract, gambling on the price of something going up instead of actually buying the asset. Like, people being able to speculate on the price of Bitcoin going up and down on the stock market instead of actually buying Bitcoin or buying something like Ethereum as, you know, as a hedge to if Bitcoin fails. Instead, they can just gamble on Bitcoin failing, and then they can go on TV and say, "Oh yeah, this happened in Bitcoin today, or this happened in Ethereum today," and you see the price go down, and they make money off of that. I think that that's I think that makes the volatility a lot more intense. You know, when you have long and short squeezes and stuff like that. But I don't think it's just a problem in crypto. I think it's a problem in traditional markets as well.
I think in Bitcoin it's just more obvious. I think it's more volatile because there's more access for people to manipulate it and fuck with it. But at the end of the day, I think that's a more realistic ratio. I think it's a more realistic conversion of these different things, because like the dollar's a dollar, it's a dollar, $1 all the time. But I think that the people that are holding it benefit from the volatility, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like they err on the side of like collecting that volatility, whereas with DeFi and stuff like that, you're there's more volatility because it's more closely in tune with the real value and exchange, if that makes sense. Yeah. I don't know.
And this is what I'll say on the topic before I'll try to segue us to something else, is just that yes, I do feel like it makes it, you know, the market's more volatile in nature, but I personally don't see it too much different than, you know, using leverage on exchange or whatnot. The difference that I see between traditional finance and like DeFi in a case like that will be that when you use leverage or you know, get one of these contracts on a traditional exchange, it's basically, you know, it's kind of like taking out a loan. I see it as, and in traditional finance, you know, you're using the exchange's money or whatever their partners are, etc., and they're making all the money around it. You know, there's trading fees and all sorts of stuff. There's some type of fee to like open the contract and whatever else, and all those fees and monies go to them. And in DeFi, that goes to whoever the liquidity providers are. So in this case, the liquidity provider could be Eric, who's talking about having a liquidity pair of Ethereum and Bitcoin. Because he wants Ethereum and Bitcoin. He knows he wants Ethereum and Bitcoin. He knows people are going to be trading between Ethereum and Bitcoin. And maybe some people want to do that gambling thing, like you just mentioned it. Maybe some people want to speculate on the price. And so in this case, instead of it being some billionaire, Sam Bankman-Fried, don't get mad at me, Sam, or whatever it is, because you know, like Sam Bankman-Fried. But instead of it being like, you know, Alameda or whatever this company is, just making money, Binance making tons of money, it's individuals making that money. And I do see that as like, you know, opening up, you know, it's about, if it's about being accessible, that's pretty dang accessible. And that's what excites me about Bitcoin, is that it cuts out all that other, or not Bitcoin, but DeFi, is that it cuts out all those middlemen and provides you that opportunity to not only trade in these different assets and play that part of the game, but then also be like an owner in the game and throw your weight around with other people, especially if you have influence of some type. Throw your weight around with people and really determine how the game is played in a financial system, which the people lost control of for like a long time now. Like we've been out of the picture. It's been like no, this small pot of people. It's like an oligarchy type ish around financial systems, and this is actually bringing it back to the people.
Mm-hmm. If I can add to that, I actually have a chatter, a friend of mine in the chat saying, I don't know what DeFi is, and I think that you, I don't know, intentionally or otherwise, basically answered what DeFi is. And if I could just quickly recap for him, was that if I wanted to trade an asset for an asset, generally I have to deal through a bank to trade, whether that be a different country's crypto or a different country's fiat, you know, trading Canadian for the USD, trading us for the ruble, trading, you know, our current. Now we're dealing with thousands and thousands of different cryptocurrencies with different economic policies, and we're betting on these different policies and stuff. So with DeFi, that's what we're doing, is we're taking the place of the bank, whereas before with the bank or even the hedge traders, the stock market guys, they're making money off the top. Now we're getting some skin in the game of making a protocol that runs on its own, and we just put our stake into it, and we're collecting a little bit off the top from transactions of people of other people gambling. We're saying, hey, I like this crypto, I like that crypto. We're going to let them gamble, and then we're just going to take a little off the top, like we're running a poker game, right?
Right. Yeah, and you're calling it gambling, but I'm like, it's truly it's gambling if you're using more and you can refer to it as gambling if you're using like a really degen tokens, like straight up meme tokens. I feel like for that type of case, but in some cases it's I want to adjust my strategy. My portfolio is Bitcoin focused. The Ethereum merge is coming up. I want to focus more on Ethereum and see what the potential here is. Yeah, you could call that a gamble, but it's also strategy and being like Ethereum actually hit its goal. And like, I don't want to miss out on that. I'm going to take this percentage of my portfolio and manage to here. And that's what people do in the financial world all the time.
But you're making a fraction
but you're
off the top of just that transaction of people moving that back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Instead you're making that percentage. And the beautiful thing about DeFi and cryptocurrency is like, especially if you're really early, is that the liquidity is small. Like, yes, you want more liquidity because more liquidity, more TVL in an ecosystem, the safer it is, the more stable it is.
Quickly define what TVL is, please.
So TVL is total value locked. And so that would be like
within an ecosystem, right?
Right, within an ecosystem. And so they could have different pairs. So it could be Bitcoin and Ethereum. It could be Ethereum and Litecoin. It could be, Ethereum and USDC. But the TVL for Ethereum might be $3 million overall in that ecosystem, even though it's across 3 different pairs. And so the overall TVL in an ecosystem would be all of those included that I just said. And maybe that total TVL is like $20 million. So a good website to look at TVL on projects is DeFi Llama. That's like the most popular one in cryptocurrency probably right now. There's like Dex Screener and stuff, but DeFi Llama. But yeah. You want that that TVL, that high TVL, and a lot of liquidity just so that you can make these trades with very little slippage. But at the same time, being early, the beautiful thing about DeFi and being so early to different projects, which is why I was like, if you like Dogecoin, you're already holding Doge, maybe try out Doge Chain and stuff like that. I wouldn't spend all your money over there, but try it out because liquidity is small. And when liquidity is small, you make more off of those fees. You end up owning a larger percentage of the pool for having fewer tokens. And as people trade back and forth, you earn more fees in general from just being there early. And so you're getting bigger before anybody else. And you're getting, not only are you getting the opportunities that you're seeing there for being there early, but then you're just getting bigger because of that. And as more and more money goes in, well, it helps you out. Now there is a thing called impermanent loss on the side of different tokens. And I feel like that's like a whole thing for itself. But basically, tokens have to.
You don't need to get into that.
I'm like the pair has to balance itself out, and you end up.
That's definitely next level conversation.
Yeah. I'm like you end up not making as much money on one side or the other, but it also benefits you in the case of market crashing. Like if you had Ethereum and USDC, it's more beneficial than just sitting in Ethereum. You take less of a loss. But yeah, that's definitely a thing for a different topic. But I feel like we hit the DeFi pretty good there. If there's any questions, feel free to write them in chat. We'll be sure to get them for the end of the stream. I wanted to move on to this next portion of things, which is about partnerships in Web3. Specifically, the topic that I have here, maybe you guys saw it, listed it in top Trustless topics this week, but it is Polygon and Starbucks partnership. Now, there's another partnership that happened that I also listed, but this was the first one that I saw.
Where was the price bump? I saw no price bump on that. Are you kidding me? Are we that developed in cryptocurrency where we don't see a price bump in a Starbucks agreement?
I mean,
is that where we're at in crypto? Are we that far along in crypto to where we don't see a price bump in that?
They said it was still recovering from the Disney pump that Polygon had.
Dude, I read that article.
It's hard to pump things in the bear market, but
right, you're right.
With something like Starbucks, it's like it's like these people who are buying NFTs aren't buying Polygon. They're just getting the NFTs they're using Polygon.
They won't even know it.
I mean, that's what a lot of people talk about. That's what they want in blockchain. They want it to be so easy that people don't know, what blockchain they're using essentially. Which I mean, I feel like that's a better way to get things adopted than having to have people have Polygon and get on MetaMask or whatever. Hopefully they have an app that's just like, the barrier to entry is low, and eventually people will, You know, they'll maybe want to sell their Starbucks NFTs, and they'll have to figure out how to use Polygon after that. But I doubt that'll be like anytime soon. The amount of people that go to fucking Starbucks is wild to me.
Old school strategy with crypto, bro. You airdrop it to people, and then even them having to sell it, they have to figure out how to get in the market just to sell what they have.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're creating
fucking bag holders.
they're creating what's activity. They're creating activity, right? So it's like just airdropping it, and then the people that still want to be part of the platform don't sell it. Yo, tale as old as time with crypto, man. Just give everybody that crypto, and then just they have to deal with selling it. And even in them selling it, they're creating activity and action.
I can see it.
When
Starbucks is such a good player. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, when I was checking out the article about what was going on, they have some use cases where you can earn certain like experiences, and you can like let me see what it said.
Is there anything about a Tesla?
To the moon?
This is crypto, so I kind of expect them to have a Tesla giveaway.
I hope not.
If there's a Tesla giveaway, it's fake. It's a scam. I mean, no. If there's not a Tesla giveaway, that's a scam.
The Tesla giveaway is not the cue to the scam. It's the lunch with Warren Buffett,
which Justin would sell, right? You want to bring that up? I don't think you want to go there, Smurf.
Like,
why do you keep rounding about to Justin's son and his scams?
Okay.
So, I had a commenter in the chat says, I agree with that guy. He's talking about you, Rec. Shit needs to be easy. We have no attention span. So that at the end of the day, man, like you just need to airdrop it. You just need to airdrop shit to a community and make it easy for them to redeem. They can redeem it and sell it, or you can hold it for future benefits. But we're getting there, right? We're getting there. The infrastructure is being built, and we're testing stuff, and it doesn't work, and we're trying different things, but we're close. I feel we're close. We're close.
I think a good example of that is we were talking about Charles earlier from D Live and his new project Galaxy, and I think that's like in some ways because it's a project working on credentials, matching people up with their wallets and whatnot with credentials, and I could see that being something very similar, and that's also on Polygon. I could see that being something really similar to what you get these Starbucks people working with, and on that, what they'll do is they basically free mint. They provide free mints to people, and so yeah, you need a wallet right now for that. But I'm like, I feel like that's their one barrier for that type of technology that's currently being developed in the ecosystem.
We're close.
Dude,
we are so close to a wallet being automatically linked with a phone number. To where if you just have a phone number,
anything,
if you have a phone number, you can always link it to that cryptocurrency account. I'm telling you, we are so close. We are so close to the phone numbers being linked.
That would probably be the thing.
I'm telling you, because then at the end of the day, you have to fight for your phone number.
What about phone numbers?
You already have it linked. Names. You already have it linked with 17 different reward systems.
Yeah.
And half of them in 5 years are going to be linked to cryptocurrency backends. I'm telling you.
That's good.
Your phone number is going to be linked to cryptocurrency reward systems. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
So when I first was like thinking about getting into crypto, I remember it was like, I don't know if it was before they had wallets that you could have on your phone, but it was before I personally knew about them. And I was like, eventually I'll be able to like go to Walmart and buy a wallet that I'll be able to put some crypto in somehow. And I was like, I gotta wait until this happens until I can, get my crypto somehow. And then eventually they brought out Coinbase, and I was like, okay, then this is what I could use to hold my crypto on my phone. I think that even things like having to sign up to a platform or having to write private keys on the wallet is something that is so stressful. Like even kind of for me, I'm someone who's like when you have to make a wallet, you have to get your keys and you have to store them and keep protected, and hopefully no one breaks into your house or fucking gets into your safe, or hopefully your bank doesn't burn down, or however you store your keys. Like that shit is stressful, especially for regular people. Like a lot of the people that I've got into crypto, it's just like they don't they don't understand that they need to keep their own keys. So they're like telling me that they want me to keep a copy of their keys, and I'm like, that's like kind of like, no, bro, like I don't want to do that, but I will. But that just gives you another access point to get your shit stolen.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like a lot of people are not comfortable with the responsibility that you have to have when you're trying to, you know, make a wallet or, you know, trying to move funds around and stuff like that. And I feel like that's to me, that's another thing about DeFi. It's just that you have to be okay with risk. You have to be okay with moving amounts of value around. You have to be, you have to know that, you don't want to use all your stuff. You don't want to stake all your Ethereum or stake all your Bitcoin and just leave it there. It's just like I think that the barrier is going to have to come way down, way down.
Yeah, and I think it's close. Coinbase, you brought that up as I feel like a good example of like a starting point with that, where if something like Coinbase did decide to, we're going to link it to your phone number that you had to submit with us with your illegal whatever the heck to withdraw, that makes it pretty easy. And when we already have like ecosystems like Wax, I know you're familiar with Wax. Where the Wax custodial, we chose Wax, NFTs for the money match gaming ecosystem because I'm like, it's not that hard to make a wallet and stuff, but like as you said, people struggle with the whole ownership of the keys and whatnot. But with Wax, you click a button and it's like, you want to use your Google, your Twitter, or your Discord, and it's like, and it's a custodial wallet attached. I'm like, it's that easy. Starbucks does something like that. To bring it back to the top, then that's, especially if they use Wax or like, that's one specifically. Like, I know they made the Polygon partnership, but I'm like, that would be,
or even a step further, like where maybe your credit card or your something is linked to a wallet somehow.
Yeah. And all it takes is them bringing like a custodial wallet platform. I think that's the answer, really. Is it giving people more options for custodial wallet platforms like that?
How hard is it going to be for a company like Starbucks to say, we will host the custodial shit for you, and we're just going to link it with your phone number. We'll take care of the custodial shit. Exactly. And as long as you can confirm with our, that you can confirm with your phone number that you can respond to us with information from your phone number, that's good enough for us to validate your phone number transactions.
Yeah.
And what's the worst that you can happen is somebody can steal your $3 worth of coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like the worst thing that the response to it is inconsequential.
Someone swaps your SIM card, and then all of a sudden they have all your fucking crypto.
Well, if it's just a reward system, though,
they have all your
they
have all your rewards for Starbucks rewards. So I'm like,
also thinking it would be pretty cool if reward systems went on the blockchain. Like it's so frustrating when you go to the gas station and you're like just trying to buy fucking Zuzus and Wham Whams, and they're like, do you want to are you a part of our reward system? I'm like, no, I don't want to be a part of Come and Go's reward system. But in reality, you really like you're gonna like
buy it again.
You're gonna make money on that. Yeah. And instead of like, I don't know, it's just me. I'm super lazy, and I'm like, no, I don't want to sign up for another thing. But really, like that's kind of like a yield generation thing in real life. Like, all these loyalty programs they're trying to give you stuff for using their their store.
Yeah.
And I feel like that stuff is eventually going to get super transparent, and people are going to be utilizing that stuff. Well, like,
can you not see that coming to blockchain to the point that it's like, they ask you that question in store and it's like simply sign this, it's kind of like sign this transaction. You're like, I just got to sign the transaction. It should be popping up on your phone right now because you're within location of our, or, within range of our location or whatever, the machine or something. And it's like, I'm just going to sign the maybe I do.
May I add a counterpoint? And I'm only responding from a chat in my stream.
Dude, what chat are you?
Under Twitch, Eric Wilson.
Okay.
On Twitch. So my cousin, he's saying that it kind of sounds like social credit score shit. Almost. The phone number thing reminds me of what's going on in China, though. How long till the government makes America coin instead of the dollar? We're not too far from that.
Yeah, we're not. They're supposedly already working on it because like every other country is already working on it. Like CBDCs are going to become a thing.
But if I can set that to the side just for a second and just say, what's the value of you being able to send a message from your phone under that phone number? there's a little bit of value in the same way that there's a little bit of value based off of cryptocurrency on the back end of the validation of there's like a chain of command and da 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 da. I feel like your ability to text message from a phone number to something is going to be almost a form of validation in and of itself. And I think that technology could meld to where the reward system somehow takes advantage of that, if that makes sense.
See.
And I'm going off a little bit, but no, that's just kind of what's striking me.
You good. Don't even.
Oh, and he added that's hooked up to your phone number and social security number. That's where we start getting a little sketchy.
I mean, we got some time for that.
We're always a step away from going too far with a lot of stuff. Like
that's a slippery slope, right?
Because it's like, you don't want to, I don't know. It's just like having one wallet linked to your account, and then you have all these other wallets. And so it's just like, what if I don't want to use that wallet anymore? What if this wallet's fucking contaminated? But it's just like some nuanced stuff, with that. Like no one wants to have a wallet linked to the fucking U.S. government. Like that just sounds like baloney to me.
Well, and to the average person, they think that the digital dollar is the same as a Bitcoin. Let's be honest. The majority of people have no identity, have no ability to identify the difference between digital dollar and Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general.
Yeah,
I think it's intentionally synonymous. I think it's intentionally melded to make it sound like it's the same thing when it's not. And in the same way that people didn't realize like Lino wasn't actually running on a blockchain, it was a test net. It's just fake internet money. Lino was never anything more than fake internet money on DLive, and people were made to believe that it was a cryptocurrency, and it was never a cryptocurrency. So it's amazing. I think that the digital dollar is definitely used to conflate the definition of what a cryptocurrency is, 100%.
Your buddy was mentioning China, and so they have a digital yuan that they're using, and I assume it's on private blockchain. I think that if the government issues a stable coin, like I think that's gonna be a wild moment for crypto. Like first of all, how do you trust something like that? Like how do you trust a central bank digital currency? And like how do you,
with the Red Scare is China, how do you trust China? Like, and as American, how the fuck do you trust China? Yeah, I'm not trying to give into the propaganda and shit and the Red Scare stuff, but like,
no, China's fucking scary as fuck. But it's just like even an American CBDC, like how do we trust that? The only way that I would be able to trust it if I could see the blockchain openly, like if you could see if you could see them minting the CBDC, but I feel like
in real time as blocks go process, right?
Yeah, blah, exactly. Blah, 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 but I feel like that's not going to be the way it works. Yeah. So for me, I'm just like, I'm out on that.
I'm like, I feel like it could work like that, or it could not work like that, and like either way it goes, the vast majority of people have no idea how it currently works and don't pay any attention to it. The vast majority of people don't pay attention, like them being like, I was saying this stuff, like I feel like at the beginning of COVID, like around like, like 2020 and stuff like that, talking about like, these congressmen and stuff like that trading, and like the Federal Reserve doing like insider trading and all this crazy stuff. People are like, what? And then it's like, it's just coming to light, and like some people still like, and to me that's like news like I've heard, but I can still talk to people and they're like, wait, what happened? Who? What? So I'm like, dude, there's no way people know anything about how money's moving. People don't know how money's being printed. The blockchain, it would be nice, but like so few people even would like register it that I'm like, it'd be super easy for them to keep it under wraps. The same way that you can do certain levels like stock trading and stuff like that totally under wraps, and their little black markets or whatever the hell they're called.
We're inundated with information, man. We got we're getting slammed in the face with information. It's hard. It's hard.
Speaking of black markets and started trading and all sorts of things, let's take it to the banks. A topic that I left in our Trustless sources this week was Fidelity, and their move with was it Fidelity and Charles Schwab offering Bitcoin. I believe that's what it was.
Don't forget the infamous Citadel, who were behind the GameStop short squeeze. So that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, Charles Schwab launched Bitcoin crypto exchange. The financial behemoths launching a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency exchange to be settled on chain with liquidity backing of legacy finance. I feel like this is the next wave of people. We said it all throughout DeFi summer 2020 2021. This whole institutions are coming. Institutional money is coming. People were like, institutional money not coming. Oh, one person came. This one person switched.
It's what we wanted until we got it, right?
Yeah. And like, this is it, folks. It is happening. These are the institutions. Like, if that's not moving you a little.
Do you remember the first like institutional crypto exchange that was out there? The one that, like, I want to say it was like the niece that started it. It was back. No one talks about it anymore. I don't think it's a thing. I don't know if it's a thing anymore at all.
Oh, back.
Maybe they're doing other type of custody or something, but I don't know if they were too early.
It reminds me of that CoinDaddy song. Right? Back that thing up. Like, it's BAKKT. That thing up. I'm like, okay.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my goodness.
It's like gone. So I don't know. It would be nice to figure out what happened with that, but
yeah.
They're gonna try to compete with FTX and Coinbase and Binance, and we'll see if they can get a foothold and if their institutional investors can help keep them afloat.
Feels it. Yeah, I just think it's interesting that they're finally bending the knee to blockchain,
getting in.
Yeah, they're bending the knee to blockchain a little bit, and respecting gangster, recognize gangster, and being like, okay, this is where the money is to be made. This is where other than the money, this is where the efficiency is. Because with the CBDC, I think that we were talking about before, I'm like, other than that, I feel like it's a natural progression for governments to try to push their funds. Like, how do you find out the blockchain exists and be like, okay, actually everything can't be hidden on the block? Actually, it's public. Why don't we have this for our currency? I don't know how that doesn't just rally, keep you up at night as a government and be like, we need to do this. Like, that's obviously the way of like being more efficient with our money management. Because as a banking system, like that's the reason blockchain's doing it, because it's so dang efficient. Now, we're happy the government's on the other side of it, but that's it's efficient money. It's so like obviously that's what you want. While we talk about efficient money and blockchain, it's a very, very special night. This is the night of
the merge.
The merge. There you go. Yeah, the merge. For anybody who is not aware, this is the night of the Ethereum merge. I'm going to type it in right now. You can just type in the merge in Google, and it shows how many hours until. We got 4 hours and 22 minutes before the Ethereum merge. And so I want to ask you guys, what you know about the merge. What are some of your... Because I feel like there's so much information about the merge, and like literally like every time that I went back and read something about the merge over like the last few weeks, I probably gathered like a small bit more of information. So yeah, I want to pose that to you guys. Like, what is your knowledge of the merge? How are your feelings on the merge, etc.?
Rex, please take it.
Okay, I don't have a bunch of knowledge on the merge, but I do know that it's like. The merge is like the first part of the upgrade. There's a couple more parts of it that are going to come later on down the line. I think that most of the scaling stuff is some of the upgrades that are later down the line. I have no idea what. Hold on. So it goes from proof of work to proof of stake. That'll be what. I think the main thing about this part of the upgrade, the merge, is that we're merging the proof of work into the proof of stake protocol, which is more environmentally friendly than the proof of work stuff that's going on. And so these climate activists, I don't know what we're gonna call them on this podcast, but
that's fair.
They're not gonna they're not gonna really have that leg to stand on about
what leg do you have
Ethereum,
to stand on?
about Ethereum being not environmentally friendly or using up too much energy.
Let me see if I can find this. Keep going.
If I may ask rather than like comment, ask a question, is for me as a person who is a very thorough cryptocurrency enthusiast, I can just be like, listen, man, don't worry, it'll work itself out. Efficiency, things are always going to go towards what's easier. It's going to work itself out. Now, how much of the merge has to do with the energy savings? How in general in cryptocurrency? Because Smurf, I've seen you like comment basically, I think it was Thorchain. Is it Thorchain that's like carbon neutral, or like they thrived? If you could expound a little bit on that, is how much of energy conservation in cryptocurrency is virtue signaling, and how much of it is a legitimate concern? Is there like a large group of like energy waste that we really should say, hey, listen, it doesn't need to be like this, or is it overblown? Because everybody's kind of backpacking on the climate change argument, in my opinion, right now.
Right. Yeah, I was able to grab this chart, which I'm about to throw up on screen. I put this out on the Trustless Degens Twitter account. So it's in tandem with some member berries, a member berries meme, being and saying that this is going to be another member moment. We just created another moment where people will look back at this and say, I'm member. But here is the chart we posted, and this is from Anton Bukov on Twitter. It says, what an interesting comparison of Bitcoin, Ethereum 2.0, and some other entities / activities, energy consumption, total watt hours per year. And so I've mentioned this before on Twitter and on some Money Match Gaming streams and whatnot. And most of the time I would be pointing out YouTube. I want to say that there's some research that I did on here, and somebody could rebuke this at any point in time, and I'd be happy to hear your new information. But this is what I researched, was that what they're not including on this list is also somebody that could be competing here is Microsoft. And not just Microsoft itself, or the Microsoft products, because Microsoft puts out a lot of energy, is just the employees alone. The employees alone at Microsoft apparently take up an insane amount of energy. They're somewhere competing with Bitcoin and gold in energy consumption for just the freaking employees, not all the products that are out there in people's houses. That's insane. But anyways, this chart is showing YouTube, and I would often use YouTube as an argument backing up, like, what about your YouTube and your Netflix and your video game consoles? Because those use up a lot of energy, and what are they doing to fix that energy consumption problem? While all these NFT haters will come at NFTs and they'd be complaining about them and this and that, your energy consumption. And I'm like, at least something's being done about it. You're finding out about NFTs in 2021. They've been working on this since like 2018, 2019, when it was like concepted, and then it went into work. It actually started in like 2020. And so like you're learning, like the people are learning about it in 2021, and it's like it's already being fixed. You're crying about something that's literally already in progress. The fix is already in progress. Meanwhile, what has YouTube done over the last few decades to replace this? You go look at some of these pages like Google. Google's like, we're carbon negative. Like, are you Google? Really?
Are you?
Did you buy up some carbon negative assets, and so now you get to say are you really? What did you do to actually change your formula? You did nothing. Stop it. Yeah. You know you still using all that energy. Gold too. Somebody tried to have the gold argument. I'm like, you have to like, I don't know what they're calculating here, but you need vehicles, you need machinery, you need people actually moving. Gold is not easy to transport. You sound silly. And then on the far right, we have Ethereum at a fraction of the energy consumption of PayPal, which is made by Elon Musk, Satoshi. Oops. No. Just kidding.
Dude, what's the energy consumption of the banking system? Brick and fucking ridiculous. Mortar, bro. We're talking natural fucking gas having to heat these old ass brick buildings. Are you serious? Do you really want to go down this road? Yeah, do you really want to start this conversation? Bro. Because I don't think if you naturally conclude it to the natural progression of things, I think the banking system brick and mortar banking system is like way
insane.
more wasteful. Are you serious?
And they're not doing anything to fix it. That's my thing. Is like when people bring up those arguments, I'm like, and they're not doing anything to fix it. And they're like, well, why would Ethereum be doing anything? It's just a bunch of chads and this and that. I'm like, okay, look at Vitalik again and tell me it's a bunch of chads. you go look at that purple unicorn. Nothing is purple unicorn. I like Vitalik's style. I like that he's so himself. But that's not your average. Like when people try to make memes of cryptocurrency and they like it's all this like beefed up bro Chad guy. I'm like, that's to number one. That is to discourage people in general, and then that's also to discourage women because no woman wants to be associated with that. And then all of a sudden you got a bunch of women that are afraid to touch anything crypto and DeFi related.
If you don't follow Vitalik's dad on crypto, what are you doing with your Twitter?
Oh my god.
Wait, what? Vitalik's dead.
Dude, Dimitri is a psychedelic Costamat. What's the word?
Oh, wow.
Bro, I'm telling you, Dimitri Vitalik. Yeah, dude, his dad.
That's the one.
Yeah, dude, he's awesome. He's a great Twitter follow. He's an awesome Twitter follow.
All right.
He's like Vitalik's Joe Rogan's uncle. You know what I mean? Like Vitalik, dude. Vitalik has like the body of Rogan with the mind of Vitalik. It's hilarious.
Oh my god. Let me jump into some ETH merge facts for you guys, because we got on the energy consumption thing, and yes, for one, the energy consumption portion of the Ethereum merge. These are just three things that I found that really interested me that I didn't feel like were super boring or too technical that people wouldn't be able to understand them. So the first one is the energy consumption issue, and so as you saw from that chart, Ethereum is losing 99.95% of its energy consumption. That's a lot. None of these other companies, nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. Nobody is rewriting. That's insane. It's actually insane. It's like actually like a technological, like we should just be like, it's like, I'm treating it like it's a holiday because that's, I've never heard of. Can you list a project or a vehicle or a product that you use that has done that in their makeup? It's like nobody can, you can't, it's hard to do. It's hard to do. It's not to say that somebody hasn't, because I'm sure somebody's cut things by whatever thousands of percent, just from moving it manually with their arms and legs to using a machine. But that's hard to do, especially at this big of a scale. It's like damn near impossible, and that's happening. This is actually like a historical moment for technology in general. That something like that is happening at this amount of scale, in my opinion. So that's the energy efficiency, 99.95%. The second thing is that other than the proof of work, proof of stake thing, the GUI threshold for deflationary, and the GUI is like I need to be more fluent in like how to explain the GUI situation, but this is basically to do with your transaction fees and whatnot on Ethereum. Anyways, the
GUI, you're talking gas fee, like a general price-ish kind of conversation, right?
Yeah. In fact, let's see if we can get you guys a more specific definition right now. What is GUI?
So, like, for me to send you $100 in Ethereum, it's going to cost me like 10 cents. But if I was to do like some sort of smart contract, right, that's the difference, right? If I was to send you Ethereum, like GUI is irrelevant. But if I was to like do a smart contract lock up, it's like 10x, right?
I don't think so. I think it's to do with both of them, honestly. But like here, let me read this definition. GUI is a denomination of the cryptocurrency Ether, ETH. Yeah, exactly. So used on the Ethereum network to buy and sell goods and services. A GUI is 1 billionth of Ethereum. GUI is the most commonly used Ether unit because it is easier to specify Ethereum gas prices. So it's a billionth. Whatever that billionth of, what did it say, just 1 billionth? Yeah, 1 billionth of an Ethereum. And
is that like the equivalent of a Satoshi decimal point? Yeah,
basically,
wise?
Right? Yeah, they're basically like, it's like like in comparison, it's like a Satoshi for Ethereum, but it seems like it's that much smaller with like probably decimal points. And so they say GUI. And so that's why I was like, I'm pretty sure it's to do like, any type of transactions that you do on the network, because this is where like the fees come from and stuff like that. But the threshold for Ethereum to become, so the thing with it being proof of stake now is that when the blockchain was proof of work, miners produced Ethereum, right? I mean, that's simple enough. You mine because you can produce Ethereum, but now the only way to produce Ethereum is via staking. Now you stake to produce Ethereum. No more miners. And so this GUI functionality has to do with, and this threshold that I'm mentioning has to do with it becoming deflationary. And so it has a threshold of, if it breaks over 15 point whatever not, I forgot, I didn't add the point whatever to it, but I'm sure that's actually somewhat mattering because it's like decimals at this point. But this GUI percentage, oops, let me go over to myself. Oh, lost Satoshi for a second. Actually, let me come right here.
What'd you do?
I just moved it up. We left Satoshi for a second. But this GUI percentage is what is determined, or what is used to determine when Ethereum becomes deflationary. So if Ethereum goes over 15 point whatever not GUI threshold, it becomes deflationary. And this is something that I don't think we've seen before with Ethereum, where it actually has an opportunity to become deflationary in this sense, just from breaking this threshold. And basically, that is to say that the network is becoming utilized more. So previously, when the network was like used so much, we just get higher transaction fees and whatnot. But now, since this EIP, whatever the number was, Ethereum now has the opportunity to become deflationary. More tokens are burned, or just tokens are burned. And so when tokens are burned at a higher amount, aka this 15 point whatever not GUI, it's going to become deflationary as a blockchain. So that's something interesting to note. Go ahead.
If I may interject, over the last 12 months, because of the Hive burning, with the Hive interaction with Hive backed dollars, in order to keep Hive backed dollars at a dollar peg, Hive has been a deflationary asset over the last 12 months. The amount of available Hive has actually decreased over the last 12 months in order to keep a balance, to keep Hive backed dollars at a dollar.
Interesting.
So just keep that in mind.
Okay, 1 second.
Interesting, because as a Hive stakeholder, you're getting generally like a 7% inflation rate.
Mm-hmm.
If you just have it in your wallet on Hive, you're getting like a 7% inflation if you have it staked. So if you have it staked, and it's a deflationary thing over the last 12 months, you've actually, as a valuation, you've increased your valuation of staking over the last 12 months.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Third fact. This is the one that I really found interesting about Ethereum. So far we covered the energy efficiency drop. So it's way more energy efficient by 100% almost.
No shit.
After a certain amount of GUI, aka how much it costs for a transaction, Ethereum becomes deflationary as a token. It's like 15 GUI. And the third thing is that the outflow of Ethereum on the daily versus the inflow of Ethereum on the daily. And so I had this like in a tweet that I say, but I don't want to go through the links right now and find this. You guys can also just Google this, this is Trustless Degens. So if anything, you don't believe me, go ahead and research it yourselves. You're going to find this in multiple places.
100%.
Yeah.
And if you find something different than what we're saying, come on the show and let us know. We're all about hearing about it.
For shizzle. But this is the most fun one to me. I had to include this, which is that the outflow of Ethereum versus the inflow is going to change after the merge, basically creating a real yield, which I think could be our last topic of the day, a real yield type of scenario for the entire Ethereum blockchain. What does this mean, Smurf? What are you saying? Stop the buzzwords. It's Trustless Degen Hour. This means that on a daily, and I'm going to round these numbers to what I remember seeing, it was about $18 million worth of Ethereum is supposedly sold on the daily in terms of like volume. So like that's like the outflow of Ethereum, about $18 million daily of outflow. So sell pressure on Ethereum daily. After the merge, there's no longer going to be this $18 million sell pressure. Basically, or this outflow, as it was explained. It wasn't called sell pressure, so I don't really want to call it that in case there's a very specific reason. But this outflow versus this inflow. Go ahead, Eric.
So, are you saying there's basically, as a general idea of if there's rewards to be staking, there's going to be a general influx of people wanting to buy in order to stake, in order to get the staking rewards? Is that where you're
potentially
it will hit an equilibrium?
Yeah.
But you think there's going to be a general once the merge goes through and people are like, 100% go, we're good.
Yeah.
There's going to be a big bump, right?
Yeah, I think the reason for this breakdown, this analysis, was because of similar to what like kind of what you're saying is just that like previously people had to use this hardware to do it, so you don't really need any Ethereum to mine more Ethereum. But now, if you want to do that, you need $55,000. Was somewhere around that right now. If you want to mine Ethereum,
sounds decentralized to me.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, well, you can join pools. You can join pools, and like.
But let's be honest.
And
any early adopter has 55 grand in Ethereum.
The early adopters all have their setups going and ready for it.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it's 55.
The people that wanted to succeed, which is the ultimate test,
and people that want to jump in with big money, it's still available for them. They can still jump in and become a validator and be making this percentage. It's all of a sudden a yearly salary. It's a salary. You know, it's like you're like, oh,
is there a percentage, a set percentage? What's the rule on that?
I forget. It's like I feel like it's between. I want to say it was like 32% or something.
All right, listen. I can go to my dad and just be like, "Listen, Dad, I need to borrow, blah 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 blah. Just tell me that number I need to ask him at 32% to make 50 grand a year.
I mean,
just tell me that number, and I'll just be like, listen. We just need to talk." I'm kidding. I don't have access like that.
I'm like, what's
32%?
It's under 200,000 though, and you're gonna be making that 50K a year. Some people can do that, and they're gonna be happy to do that, and you can fund all sorts of other businesses with your.
I did tell him to buy Sirius back in the day, and he never did, and he still tells me to this day he messed up.
I'm like, look,
for what that's worth.
Look,
I got some credits.
I work with some nonprofits and stuff that, like, you know, when they do their raises and stuff, they're raising millions of dollars, whatever the heck. I remember doing this one stream for like the Holocaust Center or whatever. They raised some $10-20 million during that stream, like insane. I'm like, imagine these places, they're like, you know, struggling to, you know, like, oh, maybe our donors can't do it next year. What about if you actually had a real yield scenario for your donors when it came in? Like, oh no, this is going to turn over profit for us for the next however many years, instead of us just spending it all this year, or spending a portion of it every year for the next 10 years, and then eventually we're out and we have to do this again. What about if they just had a strategy that just makes them money? Like, and that's like going to become popular. They have to catch on to that's possible first.
Listen.
Wait, let me get this inflow alpha. The inflow alpha went from that 18 million to an inflow of it was some like 0.3% positive inflow of Ethereum. And so, like, I was doing that, like, it's basically like a 10x. Like, it's more than a 10x scenario and, like, change there. And so I'm like, if that's at all reflected in the price, what if that gets reflected in the price, people?
Right. That's wild, man. Yeah. No, I got a little bit held in each, and, you know, we'll see what happens, man.
I wish I had more Ethereum is what I could say. Because I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the merge. It's gonna be exciting. So while on the topic of the merge again, proofofmerge.xyz website we found, mentioned earlier tonight, where you can get a free NFT that will track your account's status on the merge, like were you here early enough for the merge. And in the last little bit of things, we were just talking about real yield. And Rex Satoshi, I believe you and I were talking about this earlier in the day, and so I want to leave it as like a last thing.
I asked you what does real yield mean?
Yeah. So what does real yield mean? I feel like the name is pretty synonymous with it. So the name kind of implies what it is, but it's this new narrative that's been sweeping the DeFi space of real yield. And so that's just basically to say that from DeFi summer, if you were active in DeFi, there were a lot of what people are now dubbing Ponzi-nomics going around. And that's not to say that the ecosystem was necessarily, like, it's a very generally used phrase, I would say too. But that's not to say that the ecosystem was actually a Ponzi scheme in any manner, because a lot of these ones did have to do with liquidity providing or whatever. It's just to say that their tokenomic structure, or if it was traditional finance, their economic structure, whatever to have you, the revenue model was very poor. It was poor for the borrowers and lenders, poor for the liquidity providers. Oftentimes, the people that are going to make the most money are the developers themselves. They just didn't. It was more so. It was like the United States dollar at the time of DeFi summer, which is just printing that boy, just brrr, and that's what was happening in a lot of these protocols. They were just printing that boy. However, with the United States dollar printing, it was quantitative easing, printing that boy. there is quantitative tightening. And so we're starting to do some quantitative tightening right now, which is where the money starts coming back into the system. And these protocols had that too, in a sense, where it was a burning mechanism that they tried to implement for that. And some of them just didn't have caps, like maxes on their tokens, which is that much more problematic for a system like that, because you just don't know how big things are going to get, especially if you're trying to worry about price. And so it just creates a snowball effect of, what happens once people see like that big red candle, people start selling off. And I promise I'm getting to the full explanation of what real yield means from this. But first, I feel like understanding the Ponzi-nomics situation that we were dealing with is important. So basically, Printer Go Burr spit out a bunch of governance tokens. People speculate on the governance token, whether or not it's going to go up or not. That's what people kind of got used to with yield farms. However, the most successful of yield farms, the pancake swaps, the curve finances, the synthetics protocols, doing synthetic assets and stuff, the most successful of these had what are known as real yield revenue models. And so other than them having the whole governance token come out and whatever else they had going, like pancake swap, probably more so from just fees. On Binance, you're the biggest one on Binance Smart Chain. You got a bunch of fees coming around, and you utilize them correctly. But it's all to do with the revenue model and how that revenue is being shared. So the narrative of real yield is that the protocol itself has a successful revenue model or way of bringing funds in, and we started to see this across a lot of DeFi farms a year or so into DeFi summer, where they started to implement fees. It went from being a 1% fee for that farm to a 2% fee to a 4% fee. But that was these protocols realizing we need to try to create some revenues so that we can even do buybacks. And that's when we saw the second round of farms where they actually started to do, they found out some type of way to create revenue. That was them first finding out that maybe fees are actually a good way to create revenue, even though we're trying to do this thing. And so fees are important. Some type of revenue model is important. And the reason why the maker DAOs, the compounds, etc., these market makers, these not market makers, but these lending and borrowing markets have lasted and are considered real yield models is because they make money from liquidations. They have a revenue model where user gets liquidated, money go back to protocol. Protocol makes some money. It pays off the liquidity providers. People actually make money in this cycle though, based on somebody else's greed or lack of knowledge or whatever it is, market conditions. But people are making money from it. So it actually has a real yield system to it. It has the fees that might have come with opening up the position, and it has the liquidation that will go back into paying the protocol and the people, and maybe it has something else, maybe from people actually trading within the ecosystem. So then that's like a third revenue model. But then all of a sudden you have 3 different sources of revenue, and you can be a millionaire with 7. But that's like generally the idea of it is that you have these different things working for you for the ecosystem that actually generate some type of revenue. Most likely via fees or opening up positions or trading or stake, but something's generating the revenue, and the revenue from the protocol is going to paying those liquidity providers. So they know that there's, it's not a Ponzi because you know where the money's coming from. You can say, this is how I'm getting paid.
Speaking of Ponzi, how familiar are you with Hex?
I'm fairly familiar with Hex.
I do not think what's the locking protocol? What? No, I don't either. I'm just kidding. But what do you what's that whole locking mechanism? Like there's a higher rewards for locking for a longer period, because I've seen people locking it away from absurd amount of time, right? Like some of the OGs.
Yeah. Without having done the super cumulative reading into the docs, I've just listened to so many Hex OGs and stuff like that, because I just hold bags of Hex. I'm like, yeah, I know I should be staking my Hex. I feel like the time to really stake
everything
is when I was first
everything I've read up on seems if you have it, you should be staking if you're a believer in it, you should be staking it, right?
Yeah, you should. And the reason for that is because just like the United States, we talked about the United States dollar, and I was talking about the printer go burr. Even if the printer don't go burr from quantitative easing, you look at a chart of the United States, because we've only been doing quantitative easing for so long. But you look at a chart of the United States dollar, it's like this. It's going down. It's going down almost since its dang inception.
To zero.
It does little jumps up, but it's and that's your buying power. It's your buying power that's going down. And so that's why there's also being an argument of, people are like, oh, Bitcoin's not fighting inflation, but it is fighting debasement, regardless of how you want to put it.
Compared to anything else.
Yeah. And so we got that same type of situation happening with Hex, where in terms of the inflation. So Hex inflates. It's going to inflate to pay out the people that are staking it, which is no different than we have like in our banking. So like it's not particularly a Ponzi or anything like this. Like no, that's just I'm gonna pay you for staking this for delayed gratification, basically. Same as like a CD, central certificate of deposit. We're gonna pay you for some delayed gratification and giving us this thing. So that's all Hex has done is create that
like
certificate
a
of
stupid
situation.
long time, right?
Yeah,
They have some like contracts you lock in for like 10 years and shit, right?
Yeah, it's like
10 years. 10 years in the sense of like cryptocurrency is like, dude, bury me. Fucking bury me. This whatever I'm doing, I'm leaving to my children. Like, dude, you know.
The thing with it is though, it's like because like yeah, that's a long time. I don't like even if you don't though, like even like with the way the price, because doing that though on a large scale and what happened pretty much is that people that got in early enough and did that regardless, there's like a time lock bonus type of thing to it. Like so it's like your interest is increased by the longer that you do it for longer, better interest. And it's going to have this like 2% or whatever that we want the dollar to actually inflate by each year. Hex is actually doing that percentage because it's been coded in. So it's locked into that better than the United States dollar is, because obviously we're at 8%, we're 4 times over. Hex is not. They're inflating at the right percent, and it's still up from like like whatever the heck that's insane climb. It's up a whole bunch still. So it's doing its thing. But yeah. It's working. It's just I don't know. It's just working the way it's supposed to work. I think the best time to get in was probably like that much earlier. But either way, like as you were saying, if you're gonna be in Hex, probably the best thing to do is to either recognize when the swings are in the market, sell it to really try to hit that top and bottom
liquid, because the whole point of Hex is being not liquid, right? So having some liquidity in Hex, you're able to kind of ride those volatility a little bit, right?
Yeah. And I think well, like the other thing with Hex, not to dive into it too much, but because I feel like you need let's call Richard Hart on and all get insulted. No. But the other
next thing you know, we'll be a stream like Hexicans will fucking hate us, and that's the only reason we have any publicity, like, hey, is because Hexicans find us.
Like, hey, I hold Hex. I'm a Hex holder. I know I'm not staking it, so congratulations everybody who's staking. I will be staking as a Pulse chain though. I'm waiting for Pulse chain to stake. I think a lot of other people are too. But with the Ethereum fees, it just cut into your profits with the staking. I'm
such an agnostic lately. Like early Steam days, it was heavy tribalism, right? Like if you're not with us, you're against us. And then like I would say the last 2 years with cryptocurrency, it's been like multi-blockchain. Like it's been like working together, and like, dude,
unless you're a Bitcoin maximalist.
And hey, I get their argument, man. But I get their argument, and it's like the older I get, the more I realize like everybody's. If you were with them from the beginning, you'd feel the same way they did, right? Yeah. So I try to keep that kind of like thought process. I'm old school, Steam, Hive. Bro, I love Hive. I love it. I think but then again, I'm not familiar with Solana. I'm not familiar with this. I'm not familiar with that. Who has the time? Yeah. So really it comes down to every chain's going to make their advancement. Everybody's going to try to make things better. And ultimately we're going to come to a solution, man. At the end of the day, we're all betting on our blockchain having the solution. And that's what's cool about crypto, man. In my opinion.
Yeah. I had one last thing that I figured we'd share, because I like to include some type of educational portion to the night. And so I'm prepping that right now in a way that gets off of my wallet. There we go. This is my educational share tonight. Last week I feel like we shared some places you can go to get some crypto alpha, and those places were a new application that came out, Guild.xyz, which I think has a lot of new projects on it, including that Project Galaxy with Charles. It's building in a bear market, as well as Arbitrum and Optimism. All the bear market builders, a lot of them are on this Guild.xyz.
Can you give us the 30-second commercial on what Charles is doing with the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Because like from what I quickly put together, it seemed cool.
Yeah. 30-second commercial from what Charles is doing with Project Galaxy, now Galaxy.ecosystem. They just rebranded actually. Is credentials. So they're kind of working in the data space of Web3 and pairing that with other partners and stuff like that. But finding out money with that, and they're wrapping it around engagement. So they're using engagement to fuel this, and NFTs. So there's engagement, there's NFTs, and it's basically getting these new applications, these new projects to engage their audiences for NFTs and basically gate systems or giveaways or rewards or whatever with NFTs. But it's all about credentials. So by credentials, I mean follow us on Twitter, follow us on Discord, retweet this post, or like this post, but like doing those sort of visit this AMA, jump in this voice channel at this time. All those things can account to credentials though, that they are able to track with their system. And it's like, well, if you did this thing, you're actually part of this community. Here's your reward. And the reward is an NFT. And as you know, with NFTs, those can be tickets, gates to whatever you want them to be. So you can be very limited in that.
Listen, I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to sell out to Charles because regardless, Tron, D-Live, anything, I met Charles in person. I believe in Charles. Yeah. I genuinely feel that the drama that came off of D-Live was him trying to preserve what D-Live built.
Yeah.
And I genuinely feel that was him positively trying to influence the community. I believe in Charles. I don't believe in Justin,
Mr. Sun.
His Excellency.
Mr. Sun.
I'm going to contact Charles Wynn, and I'm going to say if he needs another employee, because I think he knows he messed up not hiring me for D-Live.
Hey, get in there, because this is a cool project. And
it is, dude. Yeah. The more I look into it, I've always supported Charles, man. I've always supported Charles.
When I heard it was by Charles, it just got that much more. I was like, wait, because I had just used it for a company, and I'm like, wait, This is Charles? like small world.
Listen, dude, I'm telling
he's
you,
like, well, crypto, he's like, you've been at it for a while, so I'm not surprised that you know him. I'm like, yeah, well.
I don't want to beat the drum too hard, but I met Charles. I looked him in the eyes. I had a drink with him. I had dinner with him. I smoked cigarettes with him, dude. I genuinely trust Charles. I think that I genuinely think he has crypto's best interest in heart. I think what he did with Tron was a survival mode for D-Live because he believes in D-Live. I don't hold it against him. Like I said, I met him. I support him.
Yeah.
I'm on his side, dude. I'm not against him, regardless what he did with Steam, D-Live, Hive, whatever. I'm on Charles' side. I support him. So yeah. So it's good. I think whatever he's working on, it's with good intention. To be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's moving the market forward. Yeah. Well,
I don't know who this Charles guy is, or
Charles
exactly
Wayne,
what his product is, but it sounds pretty interesting, and I would check it out.
Bro, he so they started on Steam with D-Live, the streaming platform, and then they moved to their own blockchain, Lino. And then they were like bought out by Justin Sun with Tron.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Bro, I listen. Charles Wayne has bought me dinner. He has fed me. He has bought me a pack of cigarettes. We walked around in the streets of New York City at 3 a.m., bro. Like, I trust him. Like, I've looked eye to eye with him. I trust Justin Sun. Not Justin Sun. I trust Charles Wynn. Don't fucking clip that. Don't clip that.
He said it. All right. Wait, I want to listen to our alpha moment of the night before we close up, and just keep us on track. And while I'm mentioning this bit of alpha education, as it's alpha, but it's educational for folks in the blockchain. I have a whole bunch of tools like this that I'm going to share, but I want you two to think of something as well, if you could. It doesn't have to be a tool like I'm about to share, but any bit of alpha or ways to learn in blockchain, things that you think are really useful. Be prepared to share that. We don't have to scroll in on it, but I just want you to be able to like share that just a word for a moment, so that people can go out there and do their own research on that topic. But here's mine for the night. It is an aggregator of yields in a different way. Now, last week I shared DeFi Llama, which is where you can see the TVL of the Ethereum or other blockchain ecosystems. But here we have apeboard.finance. Oh, yeah. There's other places like this, but this is mine. There are many like it, but this one is mine. So what I like to do here is go to this Ape radar section down here in their tools. And they have a bridge now, so that's pretty cool. But what you can do is you can type in a token that you like. So let's say ADA. I'm going to type in Cardano. And push that little button there. And what it'll do is, I think I'm right. I feel like I'm like separated by a blockchain right now. But what it'll do is it'll find you the hottest yields in town for that specific token. Or if you want multiple tokens, so you're trying to create a pair, you can type in both of those tokens. But it'll find you the hottest yields in town for that token. As you can see, all Cardano babies be down. BNB is going to be a nice, easy one to find tons of different yields on because it's got its whole own blockchain. But this is a good place to go. I go here, I don't know, once a month or so at least, and just see what's cooking. Has anybody listed any new tokens, or if there's a new token that I'm interested in? Like when I first became when I learned that ApeCoin was being listed on Binance Smart Chain. ApeCoin is on Binance Smart Chain. I'm just gonna type in ape and whatever they give me. But anyways, I typed it in here, and I found the yields for it. Because here we go on SushiSwap on Ethereum, I can get 69% for my ape. On BuySwap, which is Binance Smart Chain, it'll tell you the chain too. I can get 11% for my ape. But it just lets you know places that you can take those tokens that you have, and put them to work for you. Because that's the reason why I jumped into this Web3 DeFi portion of things, is because instead of just sitting on your tokens that you want to own, you can have them work for you. And especially if you're not really planning on selling them, like, you don't have to be super, like, the more active you are in it, maybe you make more money, maybe you lose more money, but you have more, you learn more. But even if you're really hands off and you come back,
you already
once
believe
a year,
in the tokens.
Yeah, if you believe in the tokens, just like I have a pair of Ethereum and USDC, because I like Ethereum and I like USDC. I have been using this pair of Ethereum and USDC for over a year. Over a year, it's been staked together, Ethereum and USDC, and I just move it from farm to whatever opportunity comes up next. It's like I look at I want it to be a solid project, but if it's a solid project and it's got a good APY, I'm going to use my Ethereum and USDC, especially if it's over 365% APY for the moment being. So if it's early in the project,
leveraging it. That's the whole name of the game. You're leveraging your stake. You're leveraging
exactly.
Look, the fucking value that you have put together.
Yeah, and it's super low risk in that sense. If you're just using non-house native, so not the new token of the hour, you're using Ethereum USDC. You can move. I've moved it from pool to pool, and when I initially put it somewhere, it'll be like 2,000 APY, 1,000 APY. Over the first 3 or 4 days, it's going to diminish. That APY is going to go down. Maybe the first day it's going to go down, but even if they had a fee on that farm, 2%, 4%. I earned that feedback in the first 24 hours, the first 1 or 2 days. I got the feedback. I'm doing that on Doge chain right now. I got the feedback already. I'm in nothing but profit. Nothing but profit. It's just like, you think about the fee, cool. As long as I make that feedback, and this is how people are doing it. Put together, I can place it. You can play it safer on any chain like that, whatever assets, but you have to believe in those assets, and you can use a tool like ApeBoard or find your own tools or whatever. But don't, you can move them around and just keep stacking up. Then you're just making profit off whatever token. If you want to keep that new token, go ahead and keep it and put it in its ecosystem. Utilize it for whatever it's utilized for. Learn something new, or sell that boy and buy up more ETH and USDC, which is what I love to do all the time. I'll be eating off of there, and people are like, "Oh, how you?" No, we making money all day in DeFi. DeFi ain't never slept. But yeah, that's my little alpha for you guys today. Again, it's apeboard.finance. I looked up some very basic pairs, but I mean 69% on some ape token if it's ApeCoin, if it's gonna go up anyways. I'm kind of bullish on. I need more ApeCoin. I've been sitting and it was like, all right, whatever. I bought you at like $9. I'm just gonna sit and let you do what you do. But yeah. Anything from you? Like
they haven't. ApeCoin has an unlock coming up soon, I think.
Oh, ApeCoin.
I heard. Yeah,
they're supposed to be. Well, they're gonna have staking too soon for not the ApeCoin itself. I don't believe it's like for. It was like a weird situation around it. Like you needed the NFT to do ApeCoin staking or something like that. on like their side of things. So it was like really interesting now that I was like hearing about their ecosystem. But yeah, I wanted to turn it to you first, anyways, Satoshi. For did you have any alpha for us? I mean, it's okay if you don't have like anything that you're like I was put on the spot, but if you do got something,
I don't think I'd say I have anything that's alpha. But I use certain apps to like track my portfolio, like Caesarian is an app that you can like put in your wallet address and it'll track your wallet. It is CEROION, I believe.
.io.
No, it's actually an app you can download on the App Store.
ZEI.
It's ZERION. Syrian. And so you can track your wallet, and it just like anytime a transaction happens on your wallet, or like like if an NFT gets sold, which is NFT leaving your wallet and Ethereum coming into your wallet, it'll send you a notification that something moved in your wallet. And so it's kind of helped me like know when something's moving, if I sold NFT or something.
Yeah.
And then it has prices of basically all the tokens that you have, and it can tell you exactly when you bought that token and how much the price was when you bought it, and how much you've profited that day or month.
Useful. That is useful. That is some alpha, folks. You said you want to go give us some alpha.
I like it. It works.
Right. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, that's a nice one. And now we're moving on to you, Mr. Wilson. You got anything for us?
Not particularly. I will say,
just said
though,
the same thing.
Yeah.
When I think of alpha, though, I think of something that's like
brand new or something
that's very early.
But it is early for a certain audience. For certain people, like the 8board thing might have like some people that like search, like people be like, oh, where do you find these yields, bro? And I'm like, well, you can go to something like 8, but super small research on doing 8board, like, bruh.
So like for me, man, honestly, Smurf, you know me long enough. I basically like I zoom out, and you kind of have a general idea what I want to do, right? Like I want to buy 10 acres, and I want to build tiny homes. I want to have like a tiny home campground to where if you have a tiny home in California, you can drive to my campground in Michigan and you can stay the night. And like, hey, if you want to help me weed for a couple hours, you can work off your rent. You know what I mean? That's what crypto means to me is like the kind of like implied ownership of something. Does that make sense? So like I'm willing to sell implied ownership of something that I own. If I bought 10 acres and we're building tiny homes and I have a huge fucking garden, and you live in California, and if you drove to Michigan, you could work for me for 4 hours and you could have a place to stay for the weekend, and we can do some drugs and party and have some beer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what crypto means to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I want you to be able to work in California and build some ownership, and then you can transfer that ownership over to me in Michigan, and you can say, look, I've been helping build the garden here in California. I've worked 40 hours, and I'm willing to trade that 40 hours of ownership that I have to stay with you for 6 hours and be like, all right, cool. And then we're going to party Saturday night. And then, Sunday morning when you wake up, you're going to help me like pick some carrots. And then we're going to transfer that crypto, and then you're going to be able to use that back in California. That's what crypto means to me. Yeah. So
I dig that, because I have like similar visions for like with Money Match Gaming, and having a physical arcade and allowing people to build up these points from gaming and engaging with the community on chain in different ways.
You're farming in a different way. You're not running CPUs, but you're still farming. You're still building up. You're still posting on Hive. Yeah. And you're building that up, or you're doing this and you're building it up. Either way, you're building up ownership.
Yeah, it's like we're building. Yeah, they're building, and it's like because they're putting their not only they're engaging with our ecosystem and doing everything in that manner, but they're putting that trust in us and believing in us. And we're taking a lot of the difficult side out of things for people. And in terms of like, I always saw it as an esports issue in solving, where the difficult issue with esports is funding. Nobody knows how to fund anything in esports. And I'm like, well, we figured out how to fund some stuff. And it can just like, if you have enough money, it could just be eaten. Like, I'm like, yeah, if I was like wealthy, like, it just wouldn't be a thing. We'd just be having like major events and stuff like that all the time, because we understand like, if that's what we're going to put the money toward and we're going to make it go toward an esports thing, then we found out the secret juice to fund it. Like straight up with the Ethereum 30% stuff and all this other stuff we were talking about, 10%, like we need like 4% to be funding it. And like we're talking about 30, 69, all this like large percentage. Like, no, we figured out that secret juice. But it's transferring that to people, and how do we transfer it to people at a sustainable rate? But either way, our idea was to take that funding problem out of the esport, figure it out for esports, go like, okay, this is the way esports can fund without merch, with little dollars or whatever, and create these sustainable ecosystems, and have those stadiums or those IRL places. I imagine like us eventually having, like, when I imagine MMG late stage, I'm like, we're gonna have like seasons where we like invite a team in like a Hard Knocks type style situation for esports, and like we like land in their town and we got cameras on them and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, we're the MMG team this season. Like, and we're like following them, like, these players through like, their prep for this like major esports event and stuff like that. And then we provide more to the prize pool, as well as all this engagement and like, hype around it and stuff like that. And I'm like, that just like, it's already funded. And then you're just building on top of that with sponsorship fundings and like all this other crazy stuff. Yeah. I'm like, that's the way it should, like, that's how esports should be going. For anybody who's listening out there in esports, there you go. They're your alpha phase clan. There you go. Y'all still trying to figure it out? Hire me, because I know what's up.
What if we have a situation where it's like, yo, listen, you could win a money match gaming tournament, and then through the exchange, you could trade that for a token through the Wilson token or whatever, and you can come to Michigan and hang out for a week on my campground. Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, look, I mean, we could do like, with an NFT, with the things that we're already planning on doing. We want to offer an NFT from like, you grind in our system, you can earn a flight ticket. And it's going to be an NFT that'll fly you to whatever major event, basically.
You cash it out, and like our organization will buy the plane ticket for you to fly out. You hang out with me for the weekend, and we help build a tiny home or something. And like you live in a tiny home for 4 days or something. Why not? Listen, if I had $1 million right now, like, boom, we're building a tiny home community. That's what I'm doing.
And that is one of my other late game type of life goals. Is like, I haven't really thought about it as tiny home, but like just like housing. I'd like to do like a housing experiment where you take the money out of people's hands and see how people prosper when they actually get time to work on other things, to invest in other things. And that much money is not coming out of your pocket every month. Like, they probably only got to live in your housing community for like even if you did that for people for like 10 years, what you were doing for families, giving them free housing for 10 years.
For me, it really comes down to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, what do you need the most? You need a safe place to live. You need to know that you're not going to be sexually abused. A safe place you can eat and drink. You got your clean food, your clean water, your safe home. Basically, building a housing community around the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And everybody's got a little bit extra time, so you can trade that little bit extra time for housing or food, or like we're basically building these tiny homes, and you could put like X amount of hours in, and then you have a place to live. And then you could put X amount of hours in a month, and that's your rent for the month. So then like you can still work your 40-hour-a-week job and then work 10 hours for us. And then you know what I'm saying? Like, you have a little bit extra time, and you can trade that little bit extra time for the things that you need. And we can put that time that you need towards things that everybody needs. And then it just makes sense. Like, why, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I get like a little existential.
Yeah. I'm like, we're gonna reel it back, and we're gonna let Rec finish us off here. I do feel like that is like, those type of structures, we're talking about are the future. Because these are potentials with blockchain technology, with financial. Other people have already been able to do these type of things in traditional finance, and now it's being put in the hands of the masses with DAOs and whatever have you. But yeah, let's let Rex Satoshi, if you could tail end us here.
Man, so I feel like my personal favorite thing about crypto is like what you guys are saying is being able to collaborate with basically anyone who's willing to across there's a lot of barriers when you want to collaborate with someone, but with crypto and blockchain is you can collab. Like I've collaborated with people like people who I don't know who they are. I don't know where the fuck they live. I don't know who the fuck they are. I've never seen their faces. There's a lot of people who just know me and they haven't seen my face. And you're working with these people on a shared goal. That goal could be sometimes it's just purely to make money. Sometimes it's to build a protocol, build a smart contract. But you're working with these people, and it's just like you're taking a risk, but it's just like there are a lot of people who just want to work on things, just want to build stuff, just want to be involved in something like that. So to me, one of the huge use cases of Bitcoin and crypto is just that you have a borderless collaboration platform where it doesn't matter where you came from or what college you went to. If you have a fucking degree, that shit doesn't matter here. It's if you're willing to put in the work and you're getting the work done and that's verified, then if that's valuable to the next person, then then that's real value there.
Yeah.
I feel like and people really miss that. It's just like we're so caught up in trying to make money or trying to trying to find the next best thing that we're not realizing that the internet is kind of transforming. Like it's like with all these governance tokens, like eventually I feel like there's gonna be a governance token maybe for the internet as a whole, and maybe that governance token lets you vote for
it's called Ethereum.
For the president of the internet or something, like it could be Ethereum. Ethereum has a massive head start, so I don't know why it wouldn't be Ethereum. But it's just like we have a solid chance to be. Everyone has a solid chance to build a part of this system that we're going to be using eventually. That more people will be using eventually. And it's just it's refreshing, and it's great to see. It's great to be able to come on weekly and talk with you guys about different ideas and listen to things and learn things and give you guys my opinion. And I think that we continue this, not just this, but continue the spirit of collaboration and the spirit of like that guy Charles you guys were talking about. I know that I didn't personally know him or know who he was, but dude, I was getting on D Live and watching Money Match Gaming years and years and years ago, and it's just like I experienced them going from the Lino token to and I guess that was on Steam, and then moving on to Tron and all that stuff. And it's just like it's interesting hearing it from your guys' perspective. It's just like, man, it's just like we have so much to learn and so much to do and so much to experience with this space that it's just like it never gets old to me.
You almost did like the perfect Arthur lyrics there, like so much to do, so much to say. I was like, where that diamond fist?
Don't know if you don't go.
I have that shirt, dude. I have that Arthur Fish shirt. That meme.
It's a classic. It's a classic. But yeah, thank you. Well put. And I think that wraps us up today. I'm laughing because I'm like, the last thing that I forgot to get on our list was that.
Man, kudos. I like that.
That Do Kwon was an arrest warrant was put out for Do Kwon today in South Korea, and we're not really going to touch on that too much more in depth. But I'm just putting that out there. So prayers for Do Kwon. I don't want to see any harm befall anybody. But
F's in the chat for Do Kwon for sure.
Yeah.
Big F.
Yeah, that's our show today, everybody. Thank you for coming out. This is Trustless Degens. We do this every Wednesday. And we'll see you guys next time. Boy.